Welcome to the Shellonomics Podcast, your source for pure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles entertainment, presented by King Mictus.
Alrighty guys, another episode of Shellonomics. We are excited to bring you a new series to Shellonomics. This is going to be called the Retro Gaming Series. We are very excited and very hyped to be joined by SewerBushido from Twitch.tv. SewerBushido is an amazing speedrunner at Turtles the Arcade. They have beaten this game in less than 20 minutes. SewerBushido, thanks for joining us today. And how you doing? And what were your earliest memories of this classic?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good today. It's a little early for me, but I am down to play. But yeah, earliest memories of the game, I would say, would be just like a lot of kids. I just saw it like in an arcade in the mall when I was little, and I already liked the TV show. And the graphics back then, it basically looked like the TV show, and so I was just automatically drawn to it. But as far as like speedrunning goes and stuff like that, I picked that up during all the lockdowns and whatnot. It's about 5 years ago, and there wasn't really much else to be doing anyway. And I'd seen people speedrun Ninja Turtles games before, and I thought about it, and I ended up deciding to choose this one because you can't run out of lives. You can just credit feed it forever. So if I'm really that bad at speedrunning, at least I'll get through the game. That was my logic like 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago.
And it's a great point you make too, because it's a great way to just bring life to a new your old favorites. This is one reason why I've slowly got into the speedrunning community as well. For those watching, you don't need anything. If you need our help, SewerBushido or myself, we'll be more than happy to help you get a timer set up. We're not officially doing a speed run here. We're doing a casual playthrough, and Sewer's going to share some of their tips. But can you just explain how awesome the speedrun community has been to you so far?
Yeah. So the speedrun community, the TMNT RTA community, has been really welcoming, very friendly. It's a smaller community. It's mostly you got some younger people coming in now, but I think most of the people that I'm closest with are closer to my age, so 80s kids and whatnot. And we're always trying to push ourselves to do better, or push the game to do something else new, or glitch hunt or something like that. And though we are like trying to get that top of the leaderboard or whatever, we're still mostly just kind of competing against ourselves at the end of the day, and just seeing what we can make the game do. So like anytime we discover something new, it's not like a carefully guarded secret. People who speedrun other games would understand. You want to go and you want to share that and teach other people how to do it and advance the run for everybody.
That's what I love about it too, and you'll see it on their website too at speedrun.com. There's forums up there where people just share their strats, they share their videos. If anybody has any questions, they'll go ahead and help you out that way as well. And what I like about this game, speedrunning, is it just brings life to a game, like you said, where you have unlimited lives. The replay value is high. The game doesn't take that long to begin with. I would say if you're not speedrunning and you're a casual gamer who hasn't played this, maybe 45 minutes tops if you're brand new and don't know how to do your attack and special attacks. Today we're going to treat this as if you were brand new to this turtle game, and then Sewer's also going to share a couple tips as they play through it. There's a couple boss strats here that are going to help you out in case you want to speedrun on your own. So actually really quick, since this is the first of this series, can you explain how you actually do your speedrunning? What you use for a timer, and a little bit of that, if you don't mind?
There's, I think it's XSplit is the name of it. I haven't used it on this computer yet, but there's different places where you can, there's different sort of programs where you can create splits, and what you can do is it can just be just a one timer, like a stopwatch, but you can also set up points that have names on there, and you'll see these when watching people's speedruns on their broadcasts. You'll see the name of maybe the level, or some custom name that they'll give the level as like an inside joke for the speedrun, and you get to see the individual times of each level and how much time they saved or lost. on each level as well on like an actual speed run. I don't have any timers going today, but that's because I'm going to talk through it and rewind and do all kinds of fun things. But yeah, so you can time, some people will time just the game from start to finish, but people who are really into it often make splits as well.
And what I love about this series now with the Cowabunga collection, to make this a lot easier for practice, you don't need to do anything illegally. You don't need to find ROMs. You don't need to find any hacks. You just get your Cowabunga collection.
You don't need
None of that stuff.
do anything like that.
You can even play on your own Nintendo. Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah, especially with this arcade. Yeah, nothing bad about it. I really appreciate this. I'm very excited. Usually I plug the guest socials at the end, but since we're doing a speed run here, before we get started, we're going to have this on Spotify and YouTube, so be sure to like and subscribe there. But SewerBushido, where can gamers find you?
You can just look up the name SewerBushido on Twitch, or Blue Sky is where you're going to find me primarily. But I'm also on Instagram and YouTube. Pretty much anywhere where I could have registered the name SewerBushido, it's there. But if you actually want to like see me be active, it's going to be Twitch and Blue Sky.
Perfect. Two other questions before we get started. How did you come up with your Twitch ID? And which character are you going to use primarily today, and why?
So I came up with my Twitch ID because I was looking for something that sounded sort of like a Ninja Turtles toy you could buy in the 90s, like some sort of like motorcycle that's put together out of like a toilet and a trash can, and you know, stuff like that you would see on those old toys, or like some, you know, toy weapon that they would come out with that looks like, you know, part of a lizard and a part of a pop can, and that's supposed to be a sword or something. And so I wanted to have that same sort of vibe to Bushido, and I just thought Bushido was a Japanese word that people could actually read, and not like stumble over it or feel weird. If I come into their chat room, they can go, "Oh yeah, Bushido, yeah, I know how to say that." Where like other Japanese sounding words, you know, if I'm all like, "Oh yeah, my name's Totaku Toshi Taiho," or something like that, like nobody wants to say that. So.
Very cool.
But the other question.
So which turtle are we rolling with, and why?
Yes, Donatello today. Okay. We're rolling with Donatello. We're doing that because he has excessive reach. Most of the turtles in this game have kind of the same kinds of attacks, but the hitboxes work different based on the weapon's range, and so Donatello is going to be how we cheese through this today.
I love him in this, and I'm sure you'll be seeing Donatello in a lot of other playthroughs as well. So whenever you're ready, let's get started. I'm just here to enjoy the ride. Feel free to comment on whatnot, and if I see something that I would like to grab attention to, I'll let you know.
All right, fantastic. Sounds good. I'll get started. So we go here.
I just love it. This game is pretty much based off the 5 episodes of the first cartoon. It plays just like it.
Oh, yeah, I love that fact about it. So, so normally in a speed run, people would be skipping past this stuff, but I feel like looking at it this morning.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's
once you gain control, like once you're able to hit that button, like that's when the timer starts, right? So here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a lot of special attacks in this. You see where I was able to just take out 2 people right there. I'm going to try and get the random balls here to take those out.
So for those playing this for the first time, how do you do that special attack? Is there any trick to it?
Yeah. So it's just the attack and jump at the same time, but there's a certain timing to it. So I'm just going to rewind a little bit here.
That's why I love the Cowabunga collection. This is great for tutorials.
Yeah, so you can see. So if your timing's off, you'll do kind of a kick like this instead.
Okay.
But in the Cowabunga collection, if you want to, you can change the controls so you can make the special.
Oh my gosh! And that's okay in speedruns, right? It doesn't have to be the OG setup. These controls are fine, right?
Well, I mean, like we're not even. Like we can use whatever kind of controllers we want too. Like I submitted a run on the Super Nintendo controller. Other people, I've submitted other runs on like arcade sticks. You know, it's whatever.
I never knew you could have that special as a one button. So. That is so helpful. Yes. And while you're not playing as Raphael, Can you explain why
Yeah.
Raphael, for some reason, does not have the same special attack? He has like a somersault flying kick, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I can actually show it to you. Hold
Okay.
on.
Yeah, I'm not.
So, because we're not that far, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just very interesting why they chose. I'd love to have somebody who created this game as to why he has a different special.
Yeah, so I think so. You know how in Turtles in Time, all the turtles had different special attacks.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like this is where that was going. Like, it wasn't just supposed to be Raphael only. But if you go into like the cutting room floor, you'll see that there's like a lot of cut content from this game.
Really?
There's like extra power-ups that weren't in. There's extra power-ups that weren't in. That were in Turtles in Time that that didn't make it into the original game. There's like 3 stages that are missing toward the end of the game, which I was going to bring that up later.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And then like when the game got ported to NES, 2 new stages were added back in. So it was kind of a net loss of like 1 stage. So yeah. But there's a lot of there's just a lot of really cool things about it.
Yeah, feel free to share anything you like during the gameplay. No, thank you for showing those who haven't played this one is Raphael, because again, most of us old guys, how cool is this too? Did you ever think in your lifetime, Sewer, that you'd be able to play this at home for free? I mean, you had to buy the game, but instead of spending those quarters left around like we did as kids.
Not at this quality, no. Like, we had the NES port, and that was one thing, but
it's just such a beautiful game to watch here with your tips, and just one of the few games at the arcade you play with your buddies and you work together. That's why I've always loved the Turtles. It was always about unity and working together.
Right. So I'm trying to angle myself a certain way on these guys, because you see how that one backed up right there?
Yeah.
Just right out of range. So I gotta avoid that.
So what's interesting too is, can you confirm this? The more people that play, the higher the HP goes, and the more enemies appear. Is that correct?
Yeah, the higher the boss HP is, and the more enemies you have on screen. That way, everyone has something to do.
Okay.
So, now the game ups itself in the difficulty every 2 minutes of play.
Really?
So, unless you take a death. So, when you're doing a normal speed run of this, you'll just want to you'll want to take a death before that boss there. So that way there's more rock steady here.
So Shellonomics over here, all I do is button mash tech. You just showed us how to beat Rocksteady in faster than completing a sentence. So it looked like you were doing a dropkick special. Is that the pattern you're trying to?
Yeah, so I opened up with the old pattern, which was to do a couple of jabs to set him up, and then a special to knock him backwards.
Okay.
And then from there, when he's up against the wall, if I get the timing right, I can do a drop kick and then do a special right as I land. If you do it even just like a little bit too slowly, you'll get knocked out of that pattern. But and if you kick kind of wrong, you'll knock him over, which keeps you safe, but it's not as fast.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of what we're looking at. So I'll go 1. Oh, nope, wrong one. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, like that, and then kick special. So I knocked him away from the wall, which is not great, but we can still kind of do it like that. So yeah, you just drop kick special. That's what you do. And if you want it to be even less difficult, just take a death beforehand. And that way, and it'll also make it so that when you get to, like, say, here later. So, by the way, every foot soldier in this game takes exactly 3 hits to take down. But, like, if you don't finish your combo, sometimes it takes a 3-hit combo to take them down.
Now, when you're running this game, again, it's almost like, when you're a weightlifter or bodybuilder, the more reps you do, the more this is going to be in your subconscious as to where the foot soldiers spawn,
yeah,
what weapons
it
they're
is.
throwing, and it just will start becoming automatic. So while you're playing this second level, is there ever a certain spot, like I noticed you went for that parking booth meter, do you ever go out of your way to hit those to try and get those foot, because I believe it's an insta-death if you connect with those?
Yeah, I do, depending on, like, who's lined up. It's more of a timing as to where it's lined up. So you see how he was backing up like that? That can really slow you down.
Okay.
So you got to, like, play with that. So I'm going to show you something really cool here in a minute, but I'm going to wait until we're... but you... with that, with the hazards for the foot ninjas and all that stuff, like it really depends on their timing. Like what I'm doing is waiting for a certain enemy to show up, or waiting for when I know a certain, like you said, muscle memory.
Yeah.
When I know a certain enemy is going to show up, that way I can hit it and I can take out an enemy really quickly. It's not really something I picked up from watching the tutorials or anything. It's just kind of playing it over time. I found my own little kind of play style things I like to do. And since I'm not trying to become best in the world, like that's kind of how I do it.
Okay.
So,
are you going to show us?
Coming up here, I have something really, really big that I need to show, and it's a way to save about anybody can save about 30 seconds in this level.
And I have a fun fact too. I like to see the fun fact. If you do what happens with that skateboarding chick. If you need a point. If you need some pointers, no pun intended. I'm sure you get my
right now.
If you need some pointers. I don't
Right?
understand why this is in the game here, but it's just for fun. I don't know. If you whack that girl, you get a point. I have no idea why.
Oh yeah, let's see if she does get. I think in the Asian versions, the Asian regions, you don't get a point for it. So
I just find
yeah,
that
I'm usually nice to her. So we come across this vertical scrolling section here. Normally you go down, you start fighting a bunch of guys and stuff like that, right? But we're not going to do that this time. What we're gonna do is, now this only works on single player, but another version of it works on multiplayer. I'll show you in a second. But on single player, if I start doing a diagonal toward like the left, like diagonal down left, and then mashing my attack button from here, once the vertical scrolling starts, it starts confusing the camera.
Wow.
And you start going through the wall.
Doing like a Michael Jackson moonwalk, literally. Holy cow.
And there's T-Bop
What's he
right
doing
there.
hanging out there? What the heck? Now, is
Right?
this,
So
I'm
that's where
sorry,
it spawns from.
and this is the American version of the arcade, right? So this could have
This is the American
happened.
version. It works in the Japanese version too.
So, you know, this I actually want to try that trick at. We have an arcade here in Illinois, and oh my gosh, that seems like it'd just be fun because it works. Then obviously, it's the real port. So.
Yeah, so you can do it at a real arcade too. If you're playing like with people, and what'll happen though is the game will get confused as to who to follow to keep everybody in frame. Also, if you're too slow, you'll have more than 4 guys on screen, so then you can't scroll anymore. So you got to get rid of them before you keep going. But what'll happen is you'll kind of get stuck in here like this, and it's not fun. But
as Michelangelo says in a 1990s movie, when you get stuck and the clock's ticking, dude, when you got the speed run going. Right? So I got you.
Well, what you can do when you're doing multiplayer though is you can bring it so that the area is a lot more narrow, and then you can just skip most of it anyway. Both you and the other person can just walk down like that. You see how I skipped all those enemies really fast? Yeah, so you can still do that even in multiplayer, or if you're just like weird about going through the wall like that. You just do a little bit of the trick, not the whole thing. It's the same thing, just either a little bit or a lot. So,
I do have one
but
question
if you're single
for you.
player, you're going to go all the way through, and it's going to save you about 30 seconds.
Now, I have one question for you. I think it's a good question for those who are new to speedrunning. If you go to their website, you'll see, for an example, like Turtles in Time, they have a Technodrome warp. And Turtles for Nintendo, they have glitchless and non-glitchless. Does that count as a glitch for the speedruns, or is it all in the same category?
Oh, I don't think there is a glitchless category.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you're able to do this on... Okay, cool. That's good to know. Okay. And any strats here versus Bebop?
I am keeping my distance and just doing special attacks. Just 1, 2. And so if I keep my distance the way I do, we're going to do this one more time and then save over there so I can show you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing, he has his sci-fi gun attack with the rings, and he has his, what do you call it? He has a punch that he does. There we go. And he has a run that he does. And what I want to do, so that's that punch right there, is I kind of want to bait that punch a little bit, like that.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you go up too fast, doesn't he hit you right away? Like if you were just to do a regular attack, he's knocking you right back.
So if I just hang out here and just pin him against the car, then there's no
And he doesn't
then
really
there's no
charge
reason
it.
to.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't charge at you. He doesn't shoot at you. You just got to kind of. So with Rocksteady, like you crowd him and you take out his time intervals, right? Like he's got these intervals where he attacks, and you're just trying to like prevent him from being able to do that. But with this one, it's more about just keeping that perfect range there.
Now, we know it's impossible to do with Raphael. Is that possible to do with Leonardo? I think Michelangelo
Yeah,
might be
it's
too
possible
small.
to do with Leonardo.
Okay.
Leonardo is probably like the second best person to play the game with in terms of that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that's what you want to do with Bebop is just kind of hang out in the back. Mikey, you can do it too, but it's a little harder than Raph is like the hardest person to do that with. And
Him doing somersaults and jumping
now
jacks.
Raph does seem kind of useless, but if you look at multiplayer speedruns, usually it's a Don and Raph run because Raph's rolling kick can help pick up the slack and do things like if there's an enemy running in from the back of the screen and you're trying to move forward, he can roll back real quick and kick that enemy off screen, and then hopefully you keep walking and it despawns the enemy. So you don't have to stop and fight them. So you get to finish the game more quickly that way. You can also do really cool setups against bosses and stuff like that with Donatello and Raphael together.
Oh,
But
wow.
Raphael alone is not that great. He's like an extra challenge kind of character.
Which is
So
crazy.
I'm about to find something here. You won't see speedrunners do this all the time, but I'm going to show it to you anyway.
No,
You see how my
appreciate
toes are kind of hanging off the edge there of the ledge right there in the sewer?
Mhm.
This is called the magic pixel. So when I'm here, enemies can't line up with me, but I can line up with enemies. So if you want to, you can go through pretty much this entire stage just hanging out on the magic pixel if you're careful.
Now, how long did
and-
it take you to get that? So that's automatic, like you say, muscle memory.
Oh, I mean, it depends on, what controller I'm using and everything,
Okay.
and just how I'm playing that day, whether I get it quickly. But if I'm not rusty, I can usually get it pretty quick. People who like Elrock, for example, who 1cc this game and everything, like they don't really rely on Magic Pixel anymore.
Okay.
It's more because it does slow you down having to like wait for those mousers to come down to you and stuff like that.
That
So if
makes
you want to
sense.
do it more quickly, you can't use Magic Pixel.
But this is
I
really-
wanted to show
No, it's
Magic
awesome.
Pixel because again, this is something you can do as any turtle, and anytime there's a ledge like this. So there was one in the previous stage. I've never done it on there because it's just not how the fight ends up working out most days. But I do it here, and I do it briefly in the factory sometimes toward the end of the game, like right after the skateboard level.
This is phenomenal, though. Like you say, for those who, again, there's a lot of retro gamers on Twitch who enjoy trying a 1cc or deathless run. So this might be something, to solidify that attempt. Okay, wow.
Right? So what I'm doing here, I'm not really using my special that much because you see how they're like really evasive right now, trying to find ways to line up with me, and in the meantime, they're just not letting themselves get hit. Like, I need to kind of jab at them instead of doing these like big swing for the fences style attacks so that they can't get out of the way as easily. There we go. So we have Baxter coming up here. Baxter takes 8 hits. If you're doing a speed run, here's a point where you would want to line up with Magic Pixel and know how to do so quickly. That way you don't have to deal with his mousers. What we're going to do is he's going to come in from the right side of the screen. He's flying around in this giant thing and dropping mousers out the bottom. I'm going to hang out on Magic Pixel toward the right side of the screen a bit so that he tries to stay hovering over me, and that will kind of block his path. So to show you the difference, so like he comes in like this. If I'm hanging out over here, then he's just all over the place and it's hard to hit him. But if I come over here, he just flies up and down the whole time. So, and you can just do this, and it's super easy. And that's how you get through Baxter. Another way you can do it if you're not speedrunning, the game has this built-in failsafe where you just sit around and kill mousers. If you don't kill Baxter within 5 minutes, he flies away and the stage ends anyway.
So if you're somebody who I do know at the Galloping Ghost Arcade, some people try to go for high score runs, and that's actually a fantastic way to do that. Okay. And just random here is, do you think Baxter Stockman was a fan of Die Hard, a Christmas movie with that yippee-yi-yay saying there? I always think of the Die Hard movie with Bruce Willis.
I imagine, not only was he a fan, but like considering the time period, like everybody was. Like you got to remember, like when like you're around my age, like you think back to like our 20s, everybody was quoting Anchorman like all the time.
Oh yes.
I figure that's kind of what it was like with Baxter. Like he's just saying the same things everybody else would. But yeah, I would hope he's a fan of Die Hard. Like even if he's a bad guy, he should at least have good taste in movies.
Yes, agreed. Especially being a smart guy.
Right.
Now, just
yes,
random question for you is just out of personal preference. I don't even know if you have a preference, but would you rather fight? Would you rather fight Bebop and Rocksteady together like this, or Baxter Stockman the Fly in Turtles 2 for Nintendo? Your personal preference.
I think it depends on whether I want to look cool or whether I want to have an easy day. High risk, high reward. Looking cool means Bebop and Rocksteady. It's also just a really cool testament to the power of the hardware a little bit there. That you can have both of those bosses on screen in the arcade where you couldn't at home. The doop and the doop. Okay, there we go. But if I want to have an easy day, definitely Baxter Stockman, because I have a way to cheese him so much better. Taking a death right here would be pretty normal anyway, in either version of the game, because the difficulty by this point is going to be ranked up. And if you're doing a 1cc run, that means 1 credit clear. So 1 credit, which let's say it's 1/4, you put in 1/4, it's going to give you 2 lives. And so you can take a death in the run and still be a 1cc clear. So typically if you're doing 1cc, you take a death right there because that's the point where you can reset the difficulty and then make it through the rest of the game. In a regular any percent run, you don't want to take too many deaths because it'll slow you down, the death animation, but right there's a good spot also to clear up some difficulty before moving onward.
And to just reiterate the difficulty, does that mean that they're going to have less HP, or they just attack less?
The bosses are going to be the same regardless, as far as I know. The difficulty you're looking at is mostly in regard to... now their HP... Actually, no, their HP does get higher when the difficulty is higher. Okay. So you're right. But the thing that is most noticeable is there's more enemies in there, and they're more like... And the AI is better.
Okay.
So, but here I'm gonna try and group them together. It doesn't always work. See, so like, but
let's see. This might be the.
At least we got one already.
So this is the first time I'm witnessing this SewerBushido where you actually made them go faster than doing their traditional cartoon where they ran into each other. Now, you know this game better than most. When they actually run into each other like they do, if you're going a slower route, do they actually take damage from that? Do they actually lose health on their own when they hit each other, or is that just for comical purposes?
I don't think they lose any health necessarily.
Okay.
No, at least not enough for it to matter.
Okay.
I've never seen them like take each other out that way before or anything like that.
I was wondering.
But what you saw there was just pretty much the old Rocksteady strategy is what I was doing. But then I didn't do enough hits toward and then they kind of split apart. But what you can do is as they come out there, you just jab at them and then do a special attack to knock them both over at the same time. And Rocksteady is probably the one that's going to knock you out of it more likely. But but if you can do that, then cool. Otherwise. If they do split apart, I'll just concentrate on one while avoiding the other, and just kind of switch back and forth as I need to. So, but hopefully you get the quick kill. If you're trying to go for any records, you need to get the quick kill.
I didn't know you could actually group them like that. So again, pretty much right when you start that, you have to be lined up right there, because if you're at the bottom of the screen, they're going to be gone. Okay, so it's imperative they're up top. Gotcha.
So it's not speed, it's just good timing because you have plenty of time to walk up before they even attack, right? Because they're behind that cage door.
Correct.
So as long as you don't trigger that cage door to open, you're good.
Now, just your own personal opinion here. Were you surprised that they just had? I thought this was actually pretty cool, just to show the impact of the foot soldiers, where you have this level and like another almost sub level, and there's no boss. I thought that was pretty cool by the arcade developers. I like that.
I thought so too.
Just a nice little mash of all the OG robots here, and just because again, when we were kids, we thought the foot soldiers were actually a threat, not just a laughing matter. So
right, I jumped over the guys that way. So this isn't really speed running. This is just safe to kind of give myself a little wall like that. But it's good for 1cc. So I'm going to jump over this bomb guy like this, and I'm going to do 2 downward kicks on the Rodney there. That way you got the guy to throw his bomb by thinking that like you're making him think he's lined up with you.
Oh wow! So you can actually dupe him, manipulate him,
and then the Rodney is just 2 dive kicks will take him out. You just got to let him line up with you.
So you can kill, wow, he's so much easier in the arcade compared to the Nintendo game.
Yeah. So spear guys are the worst.
Yeah.
There we go. So spear guys, I just got to like angle myself in a particular way.
What's your personal best when you do your jump attack and kill it? Were you ever able to take out all 4 of those foot soldiers on a given day?
I think I've taken them out before. Yeah. What the measure of how successful it is will come up here in the factory. You'll see another one of those transport module drills come up, and some like drones come out. And as the drones are coming out, kind of the goal is to see how many you can hit. And very, very rarely are you going to get more than like 3 or 4, but sometimes you'll get like all like 6 or 7 of them. And it's just kind of like a quick game of luck right there. So what I'm about to show though here on the skateboard level is for the first part of it, I'm actually just going to hang out up in the upper left corner. This doesn't work in the Japanese version, they patched it out, but in every other version, Europe, World, America, like North America, then you'll be able to do this. So I'm going to hang out up in this corner here, and then these gun guys are going to come by. So I see there's 4 gun guys right now, so I know that means that the difficulty is up higher. Otherwise, it would only be 3. So there's going to be kind of a gamble as to what enemies I end up getting, but they're going to scroll themselves off screen real quick here. And then we got 3 of those, and 4 knife guys. 4 knife guys is a really good thing. So we're not going to kill them, though. The secret to this stage is to wait it out. It's on a timer. So the first part was before the bridge. The second part is here while we're crossing the bridge. And then the third part, we're going to let the background music loop one more time before we kill these guys. If you keep killing guys right now, they'll just keep spawning more bad guys. And the bad guys will get more difficult. You'll get gun guys. You'll get guys with fans that shoot these weird sci-fi loops. And you'll get helicopters that drop bombs on you that take up a lot of the screen and everything. So to avoid that chaos in a speed run, we're just hanging out here and I'm just listening to the music and just kind of dodging these guys. There is one trick that I can hardly ever get called 3 blind mice, where if I get 2 foot ninjas attacking me at the same time on like, if I can get their sprites in the same spot and then just stand on top of it, then neither of them will actually hit me. So the music's coming up to end here, so that means I can start trying to kill these guys.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, if you're doing like speed run, you're gonna kill those guys with like the same timing as when the song ends, so that you're not wasting like 1 or 2 extra seconds.
I found out that helicopter trick you did. I don't know if you had an Xbox 360 growing up, but do you remember when they had the Xbox Arcade and you were actually able to buy this game before the Cowabunga collection?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh man, I was so happy I found it out just for achievements there, because they had some really tough ones on there back in the day when I was, like you say, I was not a pro gamer back then. Still am not, but just I would say more experience for both of us. So, did you ever get? Did you platinum that game for the 360? I still can't get the Baby Turtle one.
I didn't have it for the 360. Okay. I didn't have a 360. I had a PlayStation. Oh, okay. But I mean, I remember playing it on like my friend's.
Yeah, Xbox Arcade. Yeah, there was that Simpsons, X-Men, all the good ones.
So here's another spot for Magic Pixel right here. A lot of runs, 1CZ a lot of 1cc runs will die in this section because of just how difficult the factory is. And then I have the difficulty up right now, but we're going to use Magic Pixel to get by here. Our run's not going to die because we're just having fun.
Yeah.
But
your grandparents slipped you a $100 bill instead of just a $5 bill like we were used to back in the day.
Right.
So you're back in unlimited
so,
lives.
yeah,
Here.
this whole thing right here with this guy doing all of his little nonsense, like this is a higher difficulty that I'm used to this already being at for this part of the game. So we're going to knock the difficulty down a bit by taking a death. And that way there's not so many dudes spawning.
So and that's also on multiplayer too, SewerBushido, the couple minutes
Ranking
difficulty?
Yeah, it's going to be a little higher anyway. Hold up. Boom. Okay, so I only took out like 3 that time, right?
Yes.
But I'm going to try and set myself right about here.
Wow,
so there's 5 right there. So like that's kind of the trick you want to do right there is see how many of those you can hit.
It's a lot friendlier in the arcade compared to the Nintendo game, because in a Nintendo game you have to do that twice.
Right? Yeah, and then you can't take them out in one hit in the NES game. So there's a different strat there. So yeah, 3, that's about average. And then I can do that little kick I warned you about earlier. This is one of the only times in the game this kick is useful. It's just like a real quick rolling my thumb from jump to attack. Where if you do it at the same time...
That carries over in the Turtles in Time, I think, too. It's just a different kind of animation for that kick. Okay.
Yeah. Because Turtles in Time was, just kind of built off of this. So, okay. So, I get you out of here so you don't punch me out of my jumps.
Oh, man, nice group in there. Wow, single file line, just like grade school. Nice.
Yeah, you just got to line them up. So then we're here. 1 pizza. That means the difficulty's back down. Otherwise, there'd be up to 3 pizzas there.
Really? Even for 1 player?
Yeah, even for 1 player, there'd be up to 3 pizzas right there if the difficulty was higher up. But we took that death back there. So it's all the way back down to 1 pizza. So there's 2 ways you can fight this guy in this game. I haven't done this one in a while, but there's like hanging out more like back here like this and kind of running away from him. But if you get that even slightly wrong in your timing and stuff, you get smacked around like that, or you get burnt like that. You see how I like whiffed on that hit, and now I got burnt. So there's a safe way to do this, though, where you can just have him chase you up and down like this, and it works differently with different turtles because of their hitboxes of their weapons, but Donnie's got a really good horizontal hitbox, so... This is slow, but it's safe. So those are your 2 strategies. If you want to do the fast strategy, you kind of bait him towards you, and it's just got a lot smaller. It's like Bebop, but with a lot smaller of a window. And you'll find this going forward with Granitor and Krang as well. It's a lot like this, where you're going to just kind of bait them through.
There's a cool random spot here, too. I don't know if you've ever done it, just like a fun little random Easter egg. If you jump on the wall where splinters, you kind of jump off. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah.
It's so random.
It is. There's not much use for a wall jump in this game, but
no,
it
not
exists.
at all. I don't know why they even have it in there. It was very random to have. I just did it by mistake.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Yeah, these guys were definitely built to survive, which makes sense. They're stone warriors. They should have a lot of HP. Kind of hard to damage stone.
By the time you get to these bosses, it doesn't matter whether you use a normal attack or a special attack. It's going to take the same number of hits either way.
Holy cow.
So that's something to know going all the way from here to the end of the game.
Yeah, so Granitor, Trag, Krang, and Shredder are all going to take the same amount of hits no matter what.
Yeah, well, Shredder actually responds to special attacks differently, but he's got other ways to be challenging. So, correction, Granitor, Trag, and Krang all work the same way. So what you're going to find here coming up is the turtles are going to... So Splinter's going to say thank you, and then the turtles are going to hop on the elevator, right? So we'll get that.
Yep, he falls down magically.
Thank you, my God.
So between here and the Technodrome, if you go to the cutting room floor, tcrf.net, and you look up the Ninja Turtles arcade game, TCRF is a lot like Wikipedia and how it's laid out. There are 3 stages that they found information about on the ROM that have been cut from this game. that go from between the factory we just completed and the Technodrome. The first stage being an elevator stage. We just hopped on an elevator. The second stage being it's called the steel beam stage, meaning a building that's under construction. Think of like the first stage of Turtles in Time. And then the third stage was going to be a rooftop stage. So if we take a look and we look here, toward the top of the screen there, it's hard to see. I'll have to like just rewind a bit. But you can see on the left, there's that building.
Yes.
And at the top of the screen there, where that building is, there's a hole leading from the surface to the Technodrome. So that's left over from a stage that didn't make its way into the game.
Oh.
That building right there. And that would explain why, coming into this stage, it says, gotta find the Technodrome. Because after gotta find the Technodrome, you would be on an elevator, on a steel beam, and then on a rooftop before falling down and finding the Technodrome, going, there it is, and then jumping inside.
Thank you for that information. That's something even Shellonomics didn't know. Getting his own Shellonomics on his own channel. Wow, appreciate that.
Right, yeah, like I said, check out Cutting Room Floor. Take a look at the cut content from your favorite TMNT games. Sometimes there's not a lot, just a few region differences. But in stuff like the arcade game, there's cool cut content. In stuff like the NES game, the original NES game, there's a prototype version where you can choose your stage and the Technodrome isn't random. Stuff like that. So,
okay.
But anyway, Technodrome, best music in the game, I think.
Yep, I agree. Always had chills playing this as a kid. It's like, am I finally going to beat this? Do I have enough money? Do I have enough friends playing with me? Do I have to go hide to make sure I have enough lives to get there?
Oof. So all of these guys can make you sort of bounce back toward those traps.
And is that difficulty again too, Bushido? Because it looked like 5 footies came out at once.
I don't think difficulty jumped up yet, but we're going to try something difficult real quick here.
Oh yeah, this is our lovely spot. This is in here. Turtles 2, Turtles in Time, Hyperstone Heist.
Watch this. So I just skipped all those dudes.
Wow.
And I just let their own traps take them out. The freeze traps.
Now, quick question for you regarding those freeze traps.
Yeah.
You just blazed through that without. So, is that the best strategy, just to go in a straight line instead of jumping diagonally? I noticed, can you walk us through that real quick?
If you time it correctly, so you don't get hit by the laser like I did, yeah, going straight forward like that is the best. So you'll see that there's like these yellow arrows on the floor right about where the freeze things start. Plus, if you're playing it a whole bunch all the time for speedrunning, you're just going to kind of know. So then you know how to jump over them, and then jump over them, and you know how many enemies are on screen. If there's like 4 or less, you're like, okay, cool, I can keep scrolling. So you don't have to stop and fight everybody. And then you have the traps taking them out from as they're going through. So it's risky though, because if you get hit by one of those freeze things, one of the guys with the spears is going to hit you just as soon as you unfreeze. So you're going to get stun locked in that spot if you mess up. And so it's, again, high risk, high reward, just like speedrunning.
Of course. So
you're going to jump with just some timing over those things, and you'll get past everyone, get to the elevator and get to start, and then they can't follow you down the elevator. So that's how it goes. Anything else is just going to take up a whole lot of time.
I guess you just call that the go home, Rodney. You're drunk down the elevator.
Yeah. So I'm using die kicks right now because the Rodneys are a higher priority of danger to me than the gun guys.
And as you said earlier, only 2 drop kicks to knock out those guys. I never knew that.
Yeah. Oof. There we go. Spear guys are the worst. But
make sure for those playing this the first time, make sure you line up where Donatello does. Otherwise, you're going to get a nice surprise when you ring that doorbell.
Oh yeah, I should show. Here. Woo. So you get hit like that and then he's got these rockets here that will mess you up, and he's got a punch here that will mess you up. So like that. So that's what you want to look out for. But fun thing, other than that, he's not actually like the hardest enemy in the world. If you know like his range in general, you can just kind of bop him in the knees over and over again.
He's an old man. He's an old stone warrior. He's got bad knees.
Right?
Used to play a lot of basketball back in the day.
If you whiff, he might shoot a rocket at you, but I'm like a full life right now, so it's fine.
And that's your sweet spot right there. Look, he's not firing. He's not even trying to knock you
Yeah.
out. Wow.
So he is like Granitor, but easier in that you can do that fast thing there. You can also do the up and down version you saw on Granitor. So Krang is going to be similar to Trag right here. I'm just going to keep whacking him in the knees and then backing away. And as soon as I see his back foot, like his back heel come off the ground, that's when I know I can hit him again. So I'm just kind of timing it for when that back heel shows up. And I can just kind of lead him on. Otherwise, he's got rockets, and he's got a big old kick, and he's got lasers. And with Donatello, I can say in just the right range to not really have to deal with any of that if I just kind of footsie just right.
So interesting that a lot of people were like, the stereotype was to say Donatello was a nerd, and nerds are usually associated with gaming. And how great is it that Donatello, just for gamers out there, he's pretty much the most beloved turtle in this game, the Nintendo game. I mean, he does a lot of good things in these games.
He does. So now what I'm doing with Shredder here is Shredder splits into clones, and you see he's got this like one-hit kill sort of thing here where he'll demutate you. But what they try and do, their strategy is to get on either side of you. So what I'm doing is I'm using the wall to keep them from doing that. And I got the fake Shredder first because his helmet came off so quick. But now that his helmet is off, he's not going to be able to fire beams. So he's just going to chill there, and me and the real Shredder can just do this the entire time. So you can also do big special attacks, but they're harder to pull off. But it's the fastest way.
For those watching and seeing this for the first time in their lives, how come you're not attacking the helpless Shredder right now?
Oh, because if I hit him again, he's like a Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, a shadow clone from Naruto, right? Okay. So, and if I take him away, the Shredder will just make another one with that has full clone health. And depending on how many turtles there are, he will make sure there is one more of him than there are turtles in every instance. So 2 people playing, 3 Shredders. 3, 4 Shredders. 4, 5 Shredders.
And is there an estimated count as to how many clones he can have if you keep going against the wrong Shredder?
Up to, I don't know how many he can have total before he runs out of clones.
Okay.
Because I spend so much time just not fighting the clones.
Right.
But I can find out sometime. So he's almost dead here. So he doesn't have blinking. His helmet just comes off. And there you go. And then the clone goes out too.
So for those who were trying to speedrun this now, the rules may change. This is being recorded, guys, in May of 2025. Because when you join speedrun.com, and if you ever, you can do this for fun too. You don't have to post on the website if you're nervous or whatnot. But how would you start your timer, and when does it end for this game?
So I start my timer after selecting my character. So that would be like hitting start. And then I would end my timer when Donatello leaves the Technodrome main portal room. Okay. So,
can you be a little bit more specific on that? Sorry if I made it difficult to ask that. So,
okay, so
because of the arcade, you can sit there and ram and jam so many lives. So yeah, if you can just start the game real quick and let us know when that timer starts.
So my timer ends here.
Right there when they show the full text. Okay. And then when do you start your time? Yeah, because like I said, you can just sit there and give yourself 50,000 lives. So
yeah, so I've never done a run on this one before, but I would say this screen here. So right after this screen.
Oh, so so the clock starts before you start pumping in the lives. Okay, that's a very
So what I mean is this screen here is the last screen. So once I go through here, it's timer.
Okay.
That's where the start is. So that's why you want to get past all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because the timer's already going.
Okay. And does this game allow, when they're giving that description level, are you able to bypass that with the button push or no? Like when
does
it says stage
one?
What, like when you just did stage 1, like when the text comes up, are you able to bypass that by pushing the button, or do you have to wait for it?
Yeah, you can bypass it. Like it'll start to load, but
good.
You can start through it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and this is pretty much Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1989, the arcade. So this has
Yes,
been great. You also have your profile on Speedrun, and when you submit your runs, can they find them on that website as well if they wanted to add you on speedrun.com?
Yeah, you can find me. I've updated that name to be SewerBushido on the run. The actual gameplay footage, when you find it, will have an old username, but it's listed under SewerBushido on the website. I'm not in the top 10 for the game anymore, but the cool thing is that level 2 skip that I showed you earlier, that's something that I introduced to the community, and they ended up naming it after me. So every run has some of my strategies in it now, and that's kind of what's really cool. I got to contribute to the entire community rather than just kind of like have this secret method of winning or whatever.
And that's why, as I've been saying this in just about every podcast I do, the whole Turtle community as a whole, the fan base, it's so giving. Nobody hides anything. It's just we just give, we share. That's why I love doing the podcast with all you guys. Just two other questions as we bring this in for a landing. For those who grew up on the 2003 series, the 2012 series, Rise of the Turtles, why would you recommend them to play this game? And for retro gamers who have played this one, why would you encourage them to give speedrunning a try?
So this Turtles game in particular is not just a good Turtles game. It also is Konami's kind of big flagship sort of, this is what beat 'em up games are now. Like, this is supposed to be just like a licensed title, and then it turns out being, compared to other beat 'em ups of the time, just one of the best. They did a lot of things really good. It's like the difference going from like Street Fighter 1 to Street Fighter 2. Like that's how, like this is like the Street Fighter 2 of like beat 'em up games. And then like Turtles in Time would be like your special edition Street Fighter 2s. And that everybody else kind of moved on to. And so this is just really good as gaming history to see this. And I mean, even people who didn't like Ninja Turtles that much liked this game. And just knew who the characters were through cultural osmosis. So, like, it's just a fun game in general, and it draws a lot from, if you're a 2012 or 2003 fan, it draws a lot from the first season, which you'll probably like a lot more than the later seasons. And if you're a Rise fan, well, there's lots of silly fun in this, so you'll like it anyway.
Exactly. And for the retro gamers who have played this one till they were blue in the face like myself at the arcades, you can get this. This is probably one of the coolest things you can buy for any of us, the Cowabunga collection as a whole. I mean, you don't have to blow into your cartridge anymore for Nintendo. You don't have to find lighting for the Game Boy games. You get to play this arcade game.
A bunch of Turtle games on here. Turtles in Time, Turtles 4 Turtles in Time, which is the Super Nintendo port, and is the better version of Turtles in Time, in my opinion. All three versions of Tournament Fighters, SNES, Genesis, NES, Hyperstone Heist, or we have Turtles 4 at home, which has a really nice. The dash is attached to a button, which I like that. And then the original NES TMNT, the port of the arcade game on NES, Turtles 3, the really good game, but just kind of a bit long. And then all the Game Boy ones too. This is a Follow the Foot Clan. This is a really good speed run for people who want to be like a beginner speed run person too. It's not too hard of a game.
Would you like to? Hopefully we can have you back then, SewerBushido. If there's any other games you'd love to share your knowledge, and if you got hyped about that game, I never knew people speedrun that game because technically you could just play the last level. So if you're down for another one soon, we'd love to have you back on. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for your tips. If you guys enjoyed this, please give it a like, drop a comment down below. Let us know what other games you'd like us to cover here. And please check out our friend SewerBushido. You still stream on Twitch, and do you also throw these on YouTube from time to time on your own channel?
I have some videos up on YouTube right now that are just kind of like some exhibition stuff of the arcade 1-up TMNT that I used to have. Okay. Showing off some of the features there, but like level skip and things like that. But I do have my VODs on Twitch, and I'm gonna move them over to YouTube soon, since Twitch doesn't keep them forever. Unfortunately, and have those there too. So be on the lookout on my channel for that sort of thing. Awesome. And but yeah, Twitch is mainly where you're gonna find me. whether I'm in someone's chat or I'm streaming myself.
Fantastic. So the last question is, why should people who have had this game their whole lives try speedrunning this?
Yes. Because if you've had this game your whole life, the TMNT arcade game, then you might find some new challenge out of this. Like you said, breathe some new life into it. The nostalgia factor is worn off. It's just a good beat 'em up game is worn off, and you have something where you can try and learn to speedrun it and not have to really worry too much about failure, because it's just fast practice if you keep having to put more quarters in, right?
Correct.
So and then Cowabunga Collection, if you want to, you have all these cool fun things you can do to practice, like turning on God mode or setting your starting level or things like that. One thing I like to do just for fun is turn on God mode and Nightmare mode at the same time, so that the game is at its hardest difficulty and I am at my most powerful, and it's just wild chaos. You should try it for yourself sometime. But yeah, that's why everyone should play it anyway, is because, you know, you've played it a lot. This will bring a new challenge to it to see how fast you can do it.
And one final point I wanted to bring up that I actually didn't is, so we mentioned during the run, you could do this with 2 players. So there's different categories for most games on speedrun.com. So can you play this with a friend that's couch co-op or online? Is it possible to do both?
Yeah, you can do both. So one of my friends who isn't in the community and doesn't do speedrunning ended up submitting a run and was the record holder for one of the multiplayer categories for a long time because nobody was doing it. And he just kind of submitted it for fun. So yeah, you can do up to 4 players. You can do online. You can do couch co-op. You can, I don't know, bring a VHS camcorder and stick it between you at an arcade cabinet somewhere and film the CRT onto VHS tape. And rip it onto YouTube from there, like however you want. So it's not all the rules are listed on each category, and if you have any questions, there's a TMNT RTA Discord where there's a lot of really friendly people who will, in between their lives of being adults and stuff, will be able to clarify any issues you have.
I concur and can vouch for that Discord as well. Stuart, it's been a blast. Thank you so much. We hope to see you in another video soon, friend. Take care.
Take care.